'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years of life. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
He did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived close to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see everybody 100 years ain't what it used to be. Before you know it, you're 63, making plans for Medicare A and B. You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
like you're ready.
Yeah.
I am rolling.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic episode number 1556, June 4th, 2025. 97 degrees, the record high in this day, just a couple of years ago in 2021. And in the year 2000, on the morning of this day in the year 2000, it was 40 degrees. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's Josh Arnold for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Hello, Joe and gents. I know you guys don't do birthdays on the show, but today, June 4th, is my birthday, and I got myself another GL Derby car for a birthday gift to myself. Drove her home with no brakes and a few dead, rotting mice in the back seat. Wish me luck this year. See you guys at the fair. Matt Gilsdorf is our Garage Logic Demolition Derby driver.
That's awesome. Matt, you're the man. Where is he racing this weekend? Where'd you say?
He said he'll see us at the fair. He did not tell me where he's racing this weekend. He brought home a looked to be about a 15-year-old, 20-year-old Chevrolet sedan, four-door. Doesn't even look that bad. Wait till he's done with it.
Do we call a demolition derby a race?
That's true. I'm sorry. That was. I said that on accident.
Well, the only thing you have to...
I've never heard that. I've never heard that term on accident.
It's used in my house regularly, except by me, and I have to yell at people because of it.
Joe, here we
yes.
go. Late July, you're going to come on down to the Rice County Fair, and we're going to go to the demo derby.
The only thing you need to worry about if you are in a demolition derby is the Malachi Crunch.
Was that on Happy Days?
Yes.
Speaking of words and terminations,
Very good, man.
because an emailer sent me the word and I liked it, I've been calling Walls Governor Cockwomble. It's a real word, but I thought I'd refresh in case new listeners are thinking that we're being a bit over the top with such a word. And I consulted the British American Dictionary. It's a British term. Vulgar pejorative slang for a spectacularly stupid person. It is a very recent addition to the British insults lexicon and the standout survivor of many similar made-up insults such as wank puffin, knob socket, and shit flute. The word,
Puffin.
Yeah.
Let me get that written
He's
down.
got some new adjectives.
the word is often used to describe politicians, and I suspect, who's ever writing this, and I suspect that use reached its peak during Donald Trump's term at the White House, although Boris Johnson's continued tenure of number 10 meant that the word was unlikely to fall out of use. So where does cockwomble come from? We all know what a cock is, of course, and that could be a rooster, by the way. But Americans may not be familiar with a womble. A womble is, in fact, a fictitious pointy-nosed creature created by Elizabeth Beresford and originally appearing in a series of children's novels from 1968. Wombles live in burrows, and they collect and recycle rubbish in creative ways, long before it became fashionable. The characters gained a higher national profile in the UK in the mid-1970s as a result of the popularity of a BBC-commissioned children's television show. They also had a number of hit songs which reached the top of the UK charts. They were very annoying indeed. And then there's a link to meet the little wombles, but I didn't want to. And then the definition most in use. Cockwomble is an informal slang term used to describe an individual who is considered foolish, incompetent, or irritating. It is often used in a derogatory manner to to criticize someone's behavior, actions, or general demeanor. The term implies a combination of arrogance, stupidity, and ignorance. It was made for Walls. It's a word absolutely made for Tim, and I much prefer it to any of the other nicknames that have come up for him nationally.
Yeah.
British insults are the funnest of all insults. You plonker, you pillock,
You plonker,
you nutter,
you wanger.
you turnip.
No, what do they
Wanker.
call
Yeah, wanker.
Wanker.
yobs?
Yeah.
What's a yob?
I don't know, but it's fun to say.
But I wanted to say that in all seriousness, you just learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design, and B, it's really, really a deserving nickname for this buffoon. It really is, and I wish he'd get out of our lives. And he shows no sign of doing so. So there's the definition. May I have Author's Corner sounders,
Oh
please?
my goodness!
Just
I
one.
didn't know it was that time of the day.
Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. I know.
Well,
that-
how can we not? You know, when we go to
trying to
Author's
hold back.
Corner.
Author's Corner, Suchi style. Who will it be next?
This is from, I love getting emails from Krista Livingood. She's in Maryland, the state of Maryland.
Out east.
That's right. And she last told us she was trying to get a book, This Is Happiness, from her library because she heard about it on the show.
I remember.
And then went to the library to discover that it had been checked out just before she arrived, and she was wondering if there are other GLers. What's in Eastern Maryland?
Thank you.
In Eastern Maryland, she writes, as you may recall, I emailed a week or so ago when I attempted to obtain Neil Williams' book from my local library. The book was checked out, and I had to wait to receive them. Anyway, to follow up on that train of thought and to contribute in a small fashion to Author's Corner, I read This Is Happiness over the course of 2 days. While I thought initially that the story was moving rather slowly and I wondered where the author was taking me, I discovered that this book contained more than just a story. It contained a manner of writing that I have already grown to love. I was so impressed with the style and insight of Williams that I found myself reading passages more than once and often simultaneously stopped to take notes. Had the book been purchased by me rather than a loaner from the library, I would have used a highlighter, just as I did in my college days, emphasizing my favorite parts. I'm considering rereading it in its entirety, as I think I may focus less on the anecdotes and words of wisdom a second time around. I can't say for sure what touched me the most. The description of the small town in Ireland where my Maloney ancestors could have easily touched the same grass, attended the same churches, and lived in a small makeshift homes. The descriptions of the characters whose personal stories were so intricately crafted that I could feel the melancholy of the rain and the jubilation of the sunshine, or an absolute awe that was felt when a world that had been sheltered by primitive ways of living was finally being modernized by the arrival of electricity. As a lover of genealogy and history, I found myself longing for my great-grandparents' home country. As a Catholic school survivor, I don't know why I should have put that. It wasn't that bad. I found it easy to relate to the main character's personal tug-of-war regarding his religion. One of my favorite passages was, when you've been raised inside a religion, it's not a small thing to step outside it. Even if you no longer believe in it, you can feel its absence. There is a spirit wound to a Sunday. You can patch it, but it's there, whether natural or invented, not for me to say. Okay, in Tuesday's podcast, you made reference to those who can smell the rain, and there was quite a bit of banter about whether or not you appreciate mindful moments and are receptive to growth. I believe the answer is evident in your constant willingness to read, to learn, to participate in life, regardless of what the boys say. LOL. It reminded me of the passage in the book that referred to the main character's reflection during the switch to electricity. As he watched his grandparents, he noted it didn't matter this time and place would be gone, that these feelings would go to the place of all feelings once pure and complete, that all of them would be gone, but be like remembered music or the amassed richness of a lived life. Because at that moment, I understood that in miniature, was the world, a connective of human feeling. And perhaps the most poignant, Williams asserts, may we all be so lucky to live long enough to see our time turn to fable. And she wrote a long letter. I won't read the rest of it, but she's now reminding me that I need to read it again. I'll wait a while, but I'm going to read it again.
And this has been...
Ladies and gentlemen of Garage Logic, it's time for another segment of Author's Corner with Joe Souchere. Author's Corner. Sometimes it gets a little bit crazy.
Thank you.
The only thing I would challenge her on is regarding your willingness to participate.
It's all Chris, I do, Kenny. It's my life. It's my life.
Thinking theater of the mind here, Chris. Let's recreate something that happened off the air.
Oh, sure.
You play Joe. I'll play the general public. Joe, how would you like to join us on a boat ride?
Are you bleeping me? You think I'm going to go down there in the middle of the afternoon during when I go for my walk? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'm going to wear my little yachting cap. My favorite line in This Is Happiness, I'm like her. I should get a highlighter and read it again and highlight. But he was talking about the way some guy built his fireplace, and he said, the smoke either came out the windows or the front door, depending on the wind. I had to laugh.
He needs a solo stove.
That was wonderful.
I've never, ever in my life uttered that phrase again that you just said.
What?
I think I'm going to read that again.
Oh, well, you should try it sometime.
Yeah.
Jim Marshall died.
Yeah.
Bud loved him. He got into wild adventures in his life. He and Klobuchar went snowmobiling. One guy on the trip died. They were trapped in a blizzard.
Beartooth Highway.
Yep.
Up by Wyoming, Montana,
because Klobuchar wrote about it, I really don't know what Marshall thought about it or what he said, because the quotes tended to be made up. And I say that with some fondness.
I didn't know that story.
Oh, God, yeah. I think Klobuchar wrote a book about it.
Wow. He was one of the first, believe it or not, and this really irritates me, backcountry snowmobile riders. Oh, and they were just following the road, the Beartooth, but they ran into some weather and things took a turn.
John, I can tell you're on that. Did Klobuchar write a book about his adventures on that snowmobile trip?
It's a big, long, short story, I think. Because I had it printed out at one point. It was many pages.
And you know what? He gracefully overcame that hilarious wrong way run.
Oh, yeah.
It was in San Francisco. And he picked up the ball and just took off.
Bam.
And
then threw it so you couldn't do anything.
No, he didn't throw it. Didn't he run it all the way?
No, he as he crossed the end zone, Rook's right. He tossed it almost as in celebration, like,
okay.
Because it was officially ruled a safety.
He looked very happy when he got to the end zone.
But people were yelling at him the whole way.
You're going the wrong
way. He saw his chance to score, baby.
It's my moment.
Something I would have done.
I wonder why nobody's chasing me.
Yeah, right.
Sid used to tell the players Sid used to say, leave Souchere alone. He would say to some players. But he never got around to telling Marshall that. Because I was covering a practice at Midway Stadium. They used to, when the Twins were still playing outdoors at the end of this, in September.
Sure.
The Vikings often moved their practice sessions to Midway Stadium in St. Paul. And I was standing out there, I would say 30 yards, maybe Marshall was away. It was nothing. It was everybody was milling about. Practice either hadn't started or it was over. I don't remember. But Marshall threw a football at me, honest to God, 75 miles an hour. And it whistled by my head. It missed me by a quarter inch. It would have killed me. But it didn't.
Why was he unhappy with you?
It's hard to say.
Chris, come on. What kind of dumb question is that? We're all unhappy with him at some point.
That's true.
I never wanted to kill him, though. Like,
No, but I did want to kind of buzz him with a football or something.
I just think maybe he thought he was being playful. Although if it
Probably.
would have killed me, I would have died.
Sure.
I mean, if it hit me, I would have died.
Serious question then. Was this before or after you cost the team a pick? Seriously, I'm asking.
Third round
you.
pick.
Yeah.
Willie Clark practiced today.
'Cause maybe that could have had something. Hey, why don't you buzz Susher in the melon?
Yeah.
That's hard to say. But Bud would not have instructed that. No. Bud liked me,
Sure.
and he liked
Well,
Marshall.
he saved your life.
Yes, he did.
It's 1961 to 1979.
I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame.
And never missed a game.
Just on that alone.
Did he? Was he only a Viking?
Yes.
1 year
you
with the
don't see
Browns. He
that
played 1
anymore.
year
We
with the
did,
Browns.
Jerry?
Oh, he did.
He was drafted by the Browns, played 1 year with them, and then went to the Vikings.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
What
I
year
didn't
was
either,
he?
till
So
I
was
read
he
it.
drafted in 1960?
60 years.
Oh, so it was before
Where
they were
did he
a
play in
franchise.
college?
That I don't know.
I can
Well, we
look
could
that
look it up.
I can look it up.
I don't know.
I'm not finding anything about a Klobuchar book about that. He did write a story in the paper. And do you guys know who the fellow was that passed away?
Well, he's a big banking executive.
He was the president of the 9th Federal Reserve District
Yeah.
Wow.
in
Yeah.
Minneapolis.
Born in Wilsonville, Kentucky in 1937, he played college football for the Ohio State Buckeyes
I'll be damned.
before leaving to play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL.
Wow.
He was selected by the Cleveland Browns in the 4th round of the 1960 NFL Draft. Obviously, the Vikings didn't start till 61. As John mentioned, he played 1 season with the Browns before being traded to the Vikings. And then in 1964, he recovered a fumble and returned it 66 yards in the wrong direction into the Vikings end zone, where he threw the ball out of bounds, resulting in a safety for the opposition San Francisco 49ers.
That had to be, was it here? No, it was in Frisco, I believe. I believe that game was in Frisco, and that would have had to have been Kezar Stadium. The old Kezar Stadium.
I would say yes, only because I recall the video, and I think they were wearing their white jerseys.
Yeah.
The Vikings were.
Now,
Was
he
it-
never would have played against Alan Page in college, would he? He was older. So, in other words, Page probably didn't get to the Vikings till when? 66?
Look it up.
I got it.
Maybe. And Marshall, I don't even know if Ohio State regularly played Notre Dame, where Page played. We wanted to get a hold of Page today, but I have no means to get a hold of him. And I asked, my only hope was Patrick, and he doesn't answer his text.
He's worse than rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he graduated in 67
Page did?
from Notre Dame, yes.
Yeah.
And the University of Minnesota Law School in 78.
Right.
So there you go.
Bud grew to not like Alan Page. He liked Larson, Eller, and Marshall. He particularly liked Marshall because he admired the fact that Marshall would not miss a game.
Well, didn't you call him his guy?
Yeah,
Wasn't Marshall his guy?
Even if he was sick, he played.
Right.
But Page, having a great intellect, realized what his life would be like if he didn't start to take care of himself. You can't. He realized I can't go through life this heavy, and he began to lose weight, and he began to become a runner, and this was shocking to Bud. A lineman becoming a runner and losing weight. And so the day came when Bud just had all of Page's stuff from his locker put in a cardboard box and taken to Page's front door and put the box down on the front door, and that was it. They were done.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's how that played out. It was a bad scene.
Oh,
But then I
wow.
believe, didn't Allen then get a year or two with the Bears?
With the Bears.
Yes,
Yeah.
played with the Bears after.
And then he, ultimately saw the real light and said, "Well, this is I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to do something. This isn't the answer."
This isn't going to work. He's one of what? One of 2 players, defensive players, to ever win the MVP? Page?
I believe so. Yeah, they were a great front four.
Sure.
They were the Purple People Eaters. But the minute Bud could detect that Page's mind was elsewhere, that was the beginning of the end.
Well, and I was telling the story to my sons yesterday when I heard the news, and I'll never forget. I was with a couple of people, and they had a suite at the Vikings game. This is probably 5 years ago, maybe. And Jim was there, and he was in a wheelchair. And I just remember thinking, you're thinking it's Jim Marshall. He's mythic.
Yeah.
It was weird seeing him in that state.
I can't believe how massive his upper torso was, especially his chest and shoulders.
Yeah.
My God, they were just huge.
He was a man.
Yeah.
Well, so was Eller.
Yeah.
So was Lars. So was Page. But of the four, Page heard a different drummer and took matters into his own hands.
But it is. I forget who brought it up, but it's criminal that he's not in the NFL Hall of Fame.
I guess I'm going to claim ignorance. I did not know that he wasn't. Sid couldn't have taken care of that.
Right.
Seriously, Sid threw a lot of weight around in the Hall of Fame.
Well, and even Craig has done a really good job of getting some of the veteran Vikings into the Hall of Fame because I believe he's now their spokesperson.
Man alive, that's shocking. I'd put him in for never missing a game.
No doubt.
That's 270? You're never going to, think of that. You're never going to get that again.
Defensive lineman.
Right.
And apparently he didn't have brain problems.
No.
Well, they had those really good helmets with the great face mask.
Yeah. Say, I hope your garage door survived the winter. Winter can really take a toll on the garage. We're starting summer. You might want to get the garage door tuned up or repaired. If you need repair, you want to get a hold of Precision Door MN. They serve western Wisconsin, the entire metro area. They really provide great service. The GLers have weighed in, and they've enjoyed their experience with Precision Door. And if you need a new door, Precision Door has models for every budget. They send the designer out. That consultation, of course, is free of charge. You can book a new door appointment online, or you can make your appointment online at Precision Door MN. That's one word, precisiondoormn.com. Or call Precision Door. You'll get satisfactory service. They text you when they're on their way. They're always there when they say they will be. Precision Door MN. Call 612-263-6985.
Okay.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Pay attention here, Joe. I think I found something on KBid that could change your life. I'm on the internet yesterday. I don't know how I got there, but I clicked on an image of a bell, you know, the kind that used to hang over the one-room schoolhouses. Anyway, I don't know how I went from that over to an auction from a place up in Ham Lake, a bunch of skid loaders, cool shop stuff. And I come across a brand new 96 slot stand-up bolt bin. And they have 4 of these things. They're brand new and they're red. This would be your hardware aisle in your garage, Joe. Every single bolt, nut, cotter,
that.
everything. And you could bid on this right now on KBid. That's the online auction venue. You can find and bid on just about anything from business liquidations to estates and machinery, even real estate. They've sold it all. And there's new items added every single day. It's free. It's super easy to register. Just head to here you got to remember this now.
Yeah.
k-bid.com. Create your account and then start bidding, buying, and winning. It's super simple. I've been checking on the online auctions on KBid for a few years now. It's a lot of fun. Again, k-bid.com. KBid, where your next great deal is just a bid away.
I offered the following only because I found myself thinking this morning about, well, I don't know what I was thinking about. The moorings have come loose. You know, the center's not holding.
Yeah.
We're all nuts.
The moorings.
I don't offer this as an indictment. I offer it only as an astonishment. The front page, practically the whole front page of the variety section. If you go back far enough in time, that used to be known as the woman section.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the variety section in the Star Tribune is the story of a couple, John and Amy Higgins, who live on Lake of the Isles apparently. They have a pencil in their yard, a big pencil, 20-foot tall pencil.
Okay.
And Saturday is the annual sharpening of the pencil. And I thought, well, this must have something to do with a writing program or maybe to encourage kids to grab a pencil and engage, something like that. No, it's just a pencil that they sharpen. The pencil
With a big, giant sharpener?
I'm going to get to that. I don't know. That's it. They sharpen the pencil, and a lot of people show up.
Or they bring 6 packs of beer and lawn
I don't
chairs?
know.
Why is your brow so furrowed right now?
Because I don't, there's a picture here of this throng looking at a pencil. It's just a pencil.
Front yard or backyard?
Front.
Why don't you like fun? This is fun. It's
Did
dumb.
I say earlier, you can replay the tape. I said, I'm not indicting this. I was expressing astonishment.
It serves no purpose, and it's a lot of fun. I think it. You know, if you don't have a hobby, you don't have a life, you're stuck in the city, nothing to do. What the heck?
Make a big pencil.
Yeah, what the heck?
So this is their town ball.
I was just, you know what? I was just thinking of hobbies and the stuff that keep all of us busy. This is his deal. Why did it get pressed, though? You're right, Joe.
They got treats. You can get a treat. You know, they got the ice cream and it's called the Lottie, L-O-T-I. I don't know what that means. There's going to be a documentary film about it.
How long could it be?
It says it's going to be a short documentary film.
Okay.
Joe, Lottie stands for Lake of the Isles.
Oh, okay. Which is they live in a beautiful area, and I'm sure it was a sculpture apparently, but it's unmistakably a pencil. And boy,
it's pretty funny. They've got scaffolding built around the thing so they can stand next to the point.
Somebody's got to get up there and sharpen
it. Yeah.
Well, the pencil first appeared in June of 2022, some 5 years after the upper canopy of a 180-year-old oak tree fell onto the property owner's front lawn during a storm.
Oh, no.
Well, this is a pretty good idea. Rather than just get rid of the wood, the couple decided to preserve it in their own way by making it into a public work of art in the shape of a number 2 pencil.
It's kind of a GL solution.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, yeah, you know what? If you look closely at the picture, the stump is the pedestal.
That's
so are you
right.
telling me this is part of a standing tree?
Rather than just get rid of the wood, they decided they hired Ingolstad
Good Swedish
to
name.
craft it, and the rest is history. Last Halloween, the pencil wore a costume
Hey,
for the first time, dressing up as Superman
Identifying as a pen, maybe?
and jamming out to REM song Superman. As Higgins, he's the owner, told the Minnesota Star Tribune at the time, the pencil has a personality and likes to do stuff that regular people do. Enjoy sunset, pose for pictures with people. Okay.
You know what? Well, you're the fake mayor of a pretend town, so let's keep an open mind.
I'm
about
keeping
this.
all that in mind. I'm trying to keep all that in mind.
So is it safe to say that what happened here is they have a hole in the sky where the tree was?
Yeah, and somebody filled it with a pencil.
What would you think about having something like this in the town square of Garage Logic?
Well, we have a giant bronze testimonial to the fellow with the lawnmower,
Alvin Strait.
Alvin Strait. We have that on his riding his old 1966 John Deere lawnmower is already enshrined in downtown Garage Logic. But at least that's the worship of cylinders.
Right.
Did you see the musical guests for this year?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you got to get to that part.
Where's the party?
You know what? If I lived there, I would go. I have to admit it.
easy.
I would hop on the bicycle and ride over.
Well, if you're
there.
in the neighborhood, yes.
Yep. I definitely
Where's the
would.
music part? I don't see that.
This year, there's also a musical duo. Edina-based Marion Ralph Brindle will play 12 to 15-foot long horns, usually used to call sheep, but also to create music in the Swiss Alps. That's fantastic. That is so weird. I just love it.
But it's just there's nothing peripheral. It's just the pencil. It doesn't represent anything except the pencil.
Right.
And I'm a pencil guy. I like pencils.
Is there any way I could talk you into going over there? It's Saturday at between 1 and 2:30.
I don't think I'm in town.
You've got no shot to get him to go.
No.
That's gonna
Kenny's
be-
got a right idea. That would be fun.
That'd be a fun scooter ride.
Yeah. And then the other thing I noticed in the variety section, there's no TV announcements anymore and no stock pages in this pathetic newspaper. But there's a selection of suggestions for the weekend. Oh, this sounds kind of cool. There's a Back to the 80s celebration at the Blacksmith Lounge in Hugo, in which there's an 80s car show. You know, the 80s culture.
Yeah.
All right. But then I noticed under film, queer cinema for Palestine. And it's at the Bryant Lake Bowl. And it says, to kick off Pride Month, Insurgent Transmissions, a 90-minute program of short films curated by Queer Cinema for Palestine. Screens at the Cozy Black Box Theater at Bryant Lake Bowl. The short films focus on queer, Palestinian, and allied artists with titles such as Out of Gaza, Aliens in Beirut, and I Never Promised You a Jasmine Garden, and Blood Like Water. The shorts are co-presented by women-led contemporary Arab and Swana Arts organization MISNA, and Educators for Justice in Palestine. And I looked it up, and again, I did a little homework just to be sure. I think you're barking up the wrong tree with Queers for Palestine. Nowhere in the Arab world is the LGBTQ plus 3, 4 WYTMP crowd. And that's unfortunate, but I'm just saying, nowhere is that accepted. Then I looked up, is Hamas welcoming to the LGBTQ people?
What'd you find?
The answer is no, they're
No,
not.
I didn't think so.
I think you could.
buildings.
I was going to say, I think you can maybe expand
So
upon that.
I guess what I'm saying is that these must be people enjoying the freedom of this country.
Yeah. It's okay to be Palestinian and queer in the United
You can
States.
do that when you're here.
Just not in Palestine.
Well, wait. Let me ask a question. What if you are one of these people? You go to Gaza. You want to help out with Hamas, and you have an "All are welcome here" sign.
That won't work.
That's not going to fly over there.
It's not going to work.
Gotcha.
You know who else they probably don't dig and they're not into? Little Greta Thunberg, who's on her way to
Neither
free.
are the Israelis. Apparently, they're very upset that this fruitcake's going to show up on her yacht. I don't know.
Rowboat.
Yeah,
Everybody's making a big deal that the sails are down on the yacht and it's being powered by a diesel engine.
But Palestinian kids here and in college here, I hope you don't go back to Palestine and think you can
Get away with
get
it.
away with what you're getting at the failed academy. They're two different worlds, and I would hate to see anyone hurt by going back to Palestine and then ending up in a dwarf tossing contest off the roof of a building. Well, you know what I mean. I mean, something like that. Yeah.
The most remarkable thing of all of this that has me the most shocked is the fact that you are still reading the variety section. I use the variety every day. I do the crossword. I don't read any of it. I go right to the crossword,
got a
and
little
you
extra
read
time?
it.
I read everything.
I guess so.
Well, as soon as I saw the picture of Alison Krauss, I read that section that Joe's talking about.
No, but you only read about Alison Krauss.
I did, yeah. Her, Dan Tyminski, and Jerry
Where are they
Douglas.
going to be? At
They're
the.
going to be at the Ledge in Wake Park, which is a great.
That's a hop, skip, and a jump for you.
Yeah.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going. No,
Are you going?
I actually have to go to a different concert this weekend in Mankato.
Is that right outside of
You,
St. Cloud?
you going?
I like Alison Krauss. I think she's great. What was that? She did was it Page? Who'd she do the duet with? John, years
Robert
ago.
Plant.
Robert Plant. Thank
She
you.
did
Sorry.
2 albums with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so good.
The other thing that makes the pencil sharpening
Yes, sir.
so celebratory this year is it's a leap year, and for some reason it's also Prince's birthday. But apparently, because it's a leap year, another 12 years will go by before Prince's birthday is on a Saturday, and I guess you always have the pencil sharpening on a Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, that's the tradition.
It's a lot of rules.
That's
The giant pencil, the tradition is a Saturday.
I wonder if it's like the Groundhog Day. What were the guys called that were in charge of it?
The Burkhoff brothers.
No.
No, and a Puxatawny Phil.
Yeah,
It
they
was-
all
they
had
were
the uniforms.
ambassadors.
And, I mean, I
Oh,
wonder if there's an inner circle that runs this, and they get completely shit faced, and they run around with badges on and special hats.
The pencil
and-
saw a shadow.
Yeah. There'll be a meeting tonight of the committee to discuss next year's sharpening. Oh, it's a wonderful world, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a great world, and I think the lesson to take from the pencil sharpening, and I'm being very serious, is enjoy the hell out of it, because this world is going under. And this,
Right. Enjoy it while you can.
this state is so far gone. It's getting lost, and you know what? You might as well go hang out at a pencil sharpening. At least people are going to be happy and cheer and whatever. You know. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. I'm going to leave now.
Put kind of a dark twist on it there.
Hey, then why not secure that home equity line of credit as
I'm
long
going
as
to
the
go to the
world's
bank
ending?
right now and get some money.
North American Banking Company can do that for you and your family, and also for your business. And you can get that feeling anytime you walk in any one of their fantastic Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, get that refinancing done or get that new car that you've been thinking about, my friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. And right now is a great time to put your home's equity to work, and that's because a home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. Whether it is that home project or at the cabin, an unexpected expense, or something else, their experts make it easy. And they also offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So your first step can be checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Once again, it's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
It's Bugs Begone season. We're going to break it down here. This stuff is so good. It's actually, if you don't have some now, turn the podcast off, get in your car, go get some. It's worth a special trip. That's how good it is. It removes dried
You don't even
bugs.
have to turn your podcast off. Take your phone with you and keep listening.
In the car. Those big squishy bugs that smash out yellow goo, they'll take that off, no problem. Organic crud, algae, mildew, brake dust, something called exhaust soot, road grime, and pretty much anything else that's organic that you can find. We've discussed the standard operating procedure for use. but it's also a wonderful pre-soak before a wash. And Bugs Begone works for RVs, campers. Isn't that the same thing? Boats, motorcycles, golf carts, lawn equipment. And here's something we hadn't considered before, and this is a really good idea. Use it for that sink grime in the kitchen sink or the bathroom, the tub. Works great for that. Just spray it on, wait a couple minutes, then wash it off with ease. And yeah, it's safe on everything. Vehicle paint, clear coat, gel coat, metal, glass, mirrors, carpet, plastic, vinyl, and so much more. This is a water-activated formula, and it doesn't contain any harsh chemicals or odors. So how does it work? I don't know. It's magic, but it works. It's amazing. And like all the other Seafoam products, it works better than anything else on the shelf. It's the best, and it's no surprise that it comes from our friends at Seafoam.
Here is John Haidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. And this news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. I'll give you that sport note again, no details, because we pretty much talked it out. But former Minnesota Viking defensive lineman Jim Marshall has died. He was 87 years old. The team, by the way, say they do plan a celebration of life sometime this season. So we'll have some news on that when they plan it. In news, update to a story we talked about briefly yesterday, early afternoon in South Minneapolis yesterday, a crowd started to form at the site of a raid by federal law enforcement. Video of the scene showed federal agents with the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and the Drug Enforcement Agency. The Minneapolis Police Department pushed back on rumors that it was related to immigration and said the warrant was for a drugs and money laundering investigation. No arrests were made, according to Minneapolis police. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, which said it was involved, denied that the incident was related to any immigration enforcement. The Sheriff's Office said the warrants included a business in the area of Bloomington Avenue and Lake Street in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, the police department said on social media that while a federal law enforcement operation was underway, a crowd formed. Officers came to the scene to secure the area. MPD also said they were not involved in any immigration enforcement or given any advance notice of any such operation. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives said the special agents responded to help their federal partners during the execution of the federal criminal search warrant. The folks downstairs at 5 Eyewitness News reporting over a dozen residents spoke out at a Golden Valley City Council meeting last night after the police chief was placed on administrative leave with no public notice. At the meeting, neighbors called for clarity, and city leaders were facing questions about transparency and trust. A resident said at the meeting, by doing this to our police chief, I would construe this to be a form of intimidation to our other department heads. It's trying to be safe without saying fall in line or else. On Sunday, the city administrator said in a statement, the chief there has been placed on leave until further notice pending review of a complaint, but they did not say what the complaint is. Sources told 5 Eyewitness News the department was not happy with the chief sharing body cam video with Channel 5, claiming it violated the Data Practices Act.
Back in the day, if Swede the cop got fired, we'd know why.
Sure.
Yeah.
He never did. He was loyal and trustworthy.
I was reading a piece about this, trying to get to the bottom of it, and discovered he's got a little bit of a history in other markets. Yeah.
Back to the story, the first one that John had. No, the with the raids or whatever. Yeah. There was a lot of videos that surfaced yesterday on social media, and I know you got to be careful with what you can trust and what you can't trust, but some of this stuff got pretty out of hand. I mean, the fighting and the cops pushing people to the ground. Is it going to get worse and worse as the summer goes along with this stuff?
Remember back a few years ago, right after, was it the fall after the summer riots, where we had an incident downtown where there was a killer on the loose and then the guy killed himself?
Yes.
And then so everybody went crazy and broke into the Target and all of,
thinking the cops are the ones that killed them.
Everything just snowballed, and it's all due to social.
Maybe we should hope for a cool summer as opposed to a hot, humid summer.
Is it going to make? Do you think it'll make a difference?
Well, that's the old saw. The hotter the weather, the more likely there is to be shenanigans.
Mayhem.
Yeah. I went with shenanigans, but mayhem would be more accurate.
Yeah.
A man convicted of murder in a Dinkytown tobacco store shooting, we covered this when it happened, that killed 2 people and injured another, will spend the rest of his life in prison with no chance of parole. 27-year-old Malik Connolly sentenced yesterday. The criminal complaint alleges Conley walked into Royal Cigar and Tobacco near the corner of 14th Avenue Southeast and 4th Street Southeast December 3rd of 2023, shot 2 customers and a store employee. By the time Minneapolis police got there, the 2 customers, 24-year-olds Bryson Haskell and Jamarty Sanders, had died. Video of the shooting showed Conley shooting directly at Haskell and Sanders' heads from short range. He shot at a 3rd customer but missed, hitting the store employee in the rear, according to the complaint. The employee hit a panic button, locking everyone inside the store. Video then shows Conley shooting out the glass door and crawling out. Conley and the others that picked him up in a Kia were identified as members of associates of the Crazy Boys. That's a street gang which operates out of South Minneapolis. The 2 victims, Haskell and Sanders, were known to be involved with the rival Lowe's gang in North Minneapolis. Prosecutors dropped criminal charges against 4 members of the Hells Angels Iron Range chapter last week, marking the end of a controversial investigation led by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension that stretched most of the last 2 years. In the dismissals filed with the court, St. Louis County Attorney's Office said the alleged victims, quote, are either unwilling or unable to testify at trial. Joran French, Paul Debelak, Eric Newman, and Jake Novacek were charged with a variety of felonies, including kidnapping, assault, and rape related to an incident in Eveleth in November of 2023. All 4 pleaded not guilty and previously sought to get their charges thrown out after allegations surfaced last year that BCA agents and local police monitored private text messages and jail phone calls between inmates and their attorneys. After the charges were dropped, the St. Louis County Attorney's Office declined to comment. In a written statement, a spokesperson for the BCA said, we are disappointed in the dismissal of these charges, but will continue to work with the St. Louis County Attorney to seek justice for the victims in this case. Why don't we take a quick break here before national news and hear from Mr. Reavers.
Thank you, Johnny. Let's talk about my friends at Harmony Spirits down there in Harmony, Minnesota. The best handcrafted spirits made right here in our own backyard. And I got to take my glasses off to read their summer menu. First, I got to hit that button there. There we go. The summer cocktail menu is now available. Here you go. Here's their signature cocktails: the blackberry lemonade, peaches and cream. Oh God, this sounds good. Whiskey, cream, peach simple, syrup, vanilla, honey, and lemon juice. Ooh. That sounds pretty good. The blackberry vodka mojito, the cherry blossom, the pina colada. Here's a better way to go about this. Go to their Facebook page on Harmony Spirits. They've got this entire menu posted. And if you're in the area, you can stop in at Harmony, Minnesota and at Harmony Spirits, and you can grab the to-goes. So if you're on the motorcycle and you're stopping in over the course of the weekend or what have you, you can get it to go, then come home and sample it with some care, Joe. If you like those pre-made cocktails,
let me speak for Joe. Yes, the pre-made ones are great because
they're easy.
You just pour
it over ice.
Did you say blackberry vodka?
Yes, sir.
What do you mix that with? I'd be tempted to take it straight.
My saliva. Thank you, rookie.
Ice. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Maybe a little ice, but it doesn't matter whether you're a fan of the vodka, the gin, the white rum, the aged whiskey. It's all there for you, and they make great cocktails down there in Harmony, Minnesota. So check out their website too, harmonyspirits.net, for upcoming events and things that are happening in and around the area. But please stop in, say hi to Damon and Larry and the entire crew at Harmony Spirits, and let them know that you heard about them right here on the Garage Logic Podcast.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Brutal flashback the other day. We had a bunch of VHS videos transferred to an electronic, computer, whatever happens there. And there was a shot of our backyard when my kid was about 4, before we had ProTurf come in and totally redo our outdoor living space. And let me tell you, it looked like the Addams Family backyard. It was dark and skanky, and he had a little sandbox there that I think mushrooms were growing in. It was really gross, and I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew we got to do something here. And I called ProTurf. I actually went on professionalturf.com, logged on, had them come out and said, I don't know what I need, but I need something. And they showed me what they could do with their digital landscape imaging and this amazing software. And boy, then they came out and did it, and they really transformed that backyard, put in a patio and got rid of the old nasty shrubs and, plants and wood chips, the whole deal. And it really helped our resale value, and that's what ProTurf can do for you. They specialize in everything landscape related. No design is too big. The work they do is amazing, and they will improve your curb appeal, force that appreciation up, and build equity in your estate. Check out their work and schedule a free in-person landscape design estimate. Do that at professionalturf.com.
Thank you, Kenny. In national and international stories, what President Trump calls his big, beautiful bill would add $2.4 trillion to the national debt, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, and it would do that in the next 10 years. The figure is slightly higher than an earlier version of the bill, which the CBO projected to add $2.3 trillion. The Budget Office also estimates the package would increase by 10.9 million the number of people without health insurance by 2034 because of the spending cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. The long-awaited new score factors in a series of last-minute revisions that GOP leaders made to placate holdouts before the House passed the legislation last month. The changes include a higher state and local tax deduction and a provision that triggers the Medicaid work requirement sooner than the original legislation did. Overall, CBO and the Joint Committee on Taxation found that over a 10-year period, the legislation would decrease revenues by $3.7 trillion while cutting net spending by $1.3 trillion for a total of $2.4 trillion in new red ink.
Is it time to run for your life,
That's
John?
I was just going to say, Kenny, I always love that we get to the newsroom right at 1 o'clock on Wednesday in the summer.
Wednesday is 1 o'clock.
Why?
You hear the whistle.
Can you hear the siren in John's background?
Still defense.
John lives right by a what do you call it? The
Is this the tornado siren?
yeah,
Yes.
the testing.
Yeah, they test it at 1 every Wednesday.
It's about a block from John's house.
It's his backyard.
Meanwhile, it spins, and when it spins where it's directly facing my house, if you're outside, it hurts.
The
You have
bookshelves
to-
start rattling. Huh?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Meanwhile, back to the bill, Elon Musk surprising some people. He went on a full-scale attack on the bill, calling the Republican bill a, quote, disgusting abomination.
How's the Trumper going to take that, John?
I wouldn't think well, although he said Friday they were still best friends, basically, so who knows. He said, quote, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. He wrote that on X, of course. He said, shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Jobs report, a mixed bag in the latest numbers. U.S. job openings rising unexpectedly in April, showing that the labor market remains resilient in the face of uncertainty arising from President Trump's tariffs. The Labor Department reported Tuesday that employers posted 7.4 million job vacancies, up from 7.2 million in March. Economists had expected openings to drift down to 7.1 million, but the number of Americans quitting their jobs, a sign of confidence in their prospects, fell and layoffs ticked a bit higher. And in another sign, the job market has cooled from the hiring boom of 2021 to 2023. The Labor Department reported one job every unemployed person. As recently as December 2022, there were 2 vacancies for every jobless American. Excuse me.
You're excused.
I'm all choked up, apparently. Mm-hmm. The Dutch government collapsed yesterday after far-right populist leader Geert Wilders withdrew his Party for Freedom from the four-party coalition, ending the administration less than a year after it was formed. Wilders blamed the split on his partner's refusal to back new immigration proposals that included suspending all asylum applications and tightening border controls. Prime Minister Dick Schoof, an independent, said he would submit his resignation to the king while continuing in the caretaker role. Coalition leaders said they didn't oppose Wilders' plans outright, but they wanted to debate them in the House of Representatives, an approach that would have delayed any action and offered no guarantee of passage. The collapse leaves the Netherlands under a caretaker government just weeks before a NATO summit. It comes up June 24th and 25th, where key defense decisions are expected. All the remaining coalition parties could try to continue in a different form. That's seen as unlikely, and new elections are expected this fall. An 88-year-old woman nearly buried alive after she woke up inside the coffin.
Oh, no.
Come on,
Lord.
that's the worst.
That can't happen.
I hate when
Did they
that
have the little
happens.
bell?
What about embalming and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
what happened here?
Come on, John, you're making it up.
The pensioner was found seemingly unresponsive by her husband on Friday morning.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
put her in.
explains.
Yeah, she's gone. It's been 30 seconds now, so let's go.
Found by her husband at their home in Pilsen in the Czech Republic.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming she was dead, he called for emergency services, who promptly dispatched a coroner to the scene. She wasn't moving, the coroner said, and she wasn't breathing. I assumed she was dead.
It's a sharp corner, isn't it, John?
Didn't he say, as coroner, I
No, Matt,
must
he did not do that. He did not say that. He
examine
did
her.
not say that.
The undertakers arrived after the coroner called, and the dead lady was placed in the coffin. She opened her eyes at that point and started breathing. Reports in Czech media are conflicted as to whether the retiree suddenly opened her eyes in the coffin or whether workers realized she was still breathing. Either way, she was still alive, and she was taken to the hospital, where she is still being treated. The woman's husband added, the funeral service workers put her in the coffin, and when they were right here, they found out she was alive. It's serious. I'm completely unhappy about it. Police have said it's
he's
What
playing
is
it
he
right.
unhappy about?
And he made sure that she heard that.
I'm telling you, she was dead, man.
Police have said it's now investigating possible misconduct by the coroner. The coroner apparently apologized for the mix-up, and this has happened to the same coroner 3 times in the past.
I'd say he's a bad
Yeah,
coroner.
That's a bad corner.
How about that license renewal? You got any? How many times this year?
You're going the wrong way. It's obviously her fault. It's the wife's fault.
Well, here's what I was going to say, Ken. That's a pretty tough one to come back from for the old man.
Yeah.
You
So-
put me in a coffin.
Right.
Yeah.
Here.
You mean to tell
Something-
me that you saw me there,
You mean.
and without even checking to see if I just fainted or something like that, you had him hustle over here with a
Or
coffin?
maybe I took some melatonin.
Yeah.
So I was out cold.
This reminds me of a recent development in my my long marriage. And maybe John and Joe, you can relate to this. We, within the last 2 years or so, have started checking on each other if one of us sleeps late. One day last year, didn't get to bed till 3 a.m. At 10 a.m., I was still asleep. And when I woke up, she goes, I had to keep coming in to make sure you were alive. One day I got home at 10 a.m. She was still in bed, and I opened the door to the bedroom and said, Hey! She woke up. Do you two do this? Is this something we all do as elderly?
I have not been checked on.
I
I was
have
gonna place that bet.
Yeah.
Mick knows I'm alive by my snoring.
Yeah.
I have a dog who doesn't let me sleep past about 7:30. So
Okay.
there's no
Oh,
chance.
that's, yeah, that's
no
It's
chance
just
in hell
us.
that
I didn't say we check on each other with our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
walk up and go, "Is the insurance paid up, honey?" And from my home state of North Dakota, Lawrence
She
Welk.
carries a little mirror around and puts
Yeah,
it up to
just
my
to
mouth.
see, yeah.
See if I-
Lawrence Welk didn't have a flush toilet when he grew up, but,
Well, the hell with them.
but visitors to his childhood home in rural North Dakota now do. This past weekend, the band leader's childhood family home marked the latest step in the State Historical Society of North Dakota's nearly completed goal of installing flush toilets at its dozen most popular staffed sites. The most recent success, with the final 3 planned to be finished soon, came before the unveiling of a statue of Welk at a site that draws fans who recall the Lawrence Welk Show, which ran on TV for decades.
I bet that group is thinning out pretty quick here. Huh?
The North Dakota group's goal of replacing pit toilets with flush toilets may seem like a humble aspiration to some, but it's an important milestone, according to Chris Dorfschmidt, the historic site's manager.
Wow. I don't know how you find these stories. You mean to tell me that when tourists visited Lawrence Welk's house and they had to go out to the pit?
Go
That's
lean
correct.
against a tree. Yeah.
I know where that house was and was there and met Lawrence Welk there, and it was just in the middle of nowhere.
What town would be nearest?
Strasburg. It's
Okay.
just outside of Strasburg, North
So
Dakota.
you can answer some questions. My uncle's father grew up with him and said that they were criminally poor, like no shoes, the same
Well, you just heard he didn't have a
2 pairs
flusher.
of pants. Just they had absolutely nothing. Just poor dirt farmers.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Okay.
I think everybody I've ever talked to that was about that age, including my parents, same thing. I mean, they grew up during the Depression.
Hey.
Had nothing.
I'm from the sod hut. Don't tell me about any of this stuff.
He's a descendant.
Yeah.
But the worst story my mother ever told me was they used to have to sweep out the house in the 30s because the wind would blow all the dust and dirt into the house, and they'd have stacks of dirt this high.
He was
Did he play an instrument?
Well, he might have, but
The
no,
accordion?
not on the show. He didn't.
Well, why was he even a TV guy?
He decided on a career in music and persuaded his father to buy a mail-order accordion for $400.
$400? I don't believe that.
Equivalent to $6,200 in 2024. He promised his dad.
Well, where would the family get the $400?
Yeah, no,
He
that's
promised his dad he'd work on the farm till he was 21 in repayment for the accordion. Any money he made elsewhere during that time doing farm work, performing, would go to his family.
Well, if Kenny's true what he said, and I thought it was too, where did they get the equivalent of $6,200?
He was the 6th of 8 children to Ludwig and Christina Welk, Roman Catholic ethnic Germans who immigrated in 1892.
Here's a tip: if you're dirt poor, maybe pull out. I don't know.
Move to where the food is.
6 kids, that's a lot.
I don't think that's what Kenny meant, Joe.
It's a great story.
Oh, I thought he meant move.
On
You're
his
so
20
innocent. I love your innocence, Joe.
And he was true to his word. On his 21st birthday, having fulfilled his promise to his father, he left the farm to pursue a career in music.
Pull out. I've seen the wagon getting loaded. Let's go here. We're going to move.
Honest
You
to
know,
God.
You know who I miss is Marlon Perkins.
Well, I don't.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Did he
Him
sneak up
wrestling-
behind a polar bear and shoot him in the head?
He'd jump out of a helicopter and wrestle an alligator.
Yeah.
Well, Jim attends to the.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that called the show, Rook? He ran the porn shop in Minneapolis.
Oh, Jersey Voice.
Jersey Boy. Didn't he do a great bit about somebody had snuck up on the polar bear? Who was I thinking of?
I don't remember
Jersey
that story.
Voice ran a porn
No,
shop?
an adult gift shop.
It was Fantasy Gifts.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
I don't know who owns it now. I'd look it up, but I can't get to the filter.
There's still fantasy gifts everywhere. There's one up here somewhere.
Oh,
I only know
you
one.
got a frequent flyer mile?
No, but they used to buy time on My Talk.
Did they really?
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
how
that
I
was a
met.
smitten kitty or something.
Can we get back to Lawrence Welk for a moment?
Sure.
What possibly would have compelled people to watch that? It was just
And
horrible.
one, and a two.
What was the attraction?
We only had
the
one
Andrews
channel.
sisters.
No, we had
Andrews
one
sisters
channel.
were not on there. The
What
Lennon
sisters were there? There were
Lennon.
some sisters.
Joe.
Lennon.
It was
Lennon.
It was watch that or turn the TV off.
In
There was only
51,
one channel.
he settled in L.A., began producing the Lawrence Welk Show on KTLA in Los Angeles, where it broadcasts from, The show became a local hit and was picked up by ABC in 55. In 56, he also signed with Ben Sullivan at RCA for broadcasts of his new Lawrence Welk show on leading national radio broadcasts.
Well, did he even put out a record?
I'm Jenny.
Tons of records. Yeah.
The small hands.
He had some really good musicians play with him too. Buddy Merrill, fine guitar player.
Oh, he was a
go.
monster.
Here we go. I'm sure he was a monster. Yeah.
For years. The best though, and you can find it anywhere on YouTube, is the couple that always singing One Toke Over the Line. Because you know the musicians all knew what it meant. They were all smoking weed then.
I bet
Larry
you Lawrence
probably
didn't.
They played
I bet he
that
had no
song
idea.
on Lawrence Welk?
Look it up, Kenny. Lawrence
that's
Welk on
hilarious.
YouTube. One Toke Over the Line.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And
People
it's
watching probably thought it meant, tickets. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
they're both doing this.
Yeah.
Just high AF.
I have childhood memories of that show being on in the room full of cigarette smoke.
The couch.
The couch had the sequins in it. There was shiny crap like
a couple of buttons missing.
Describe the TV console, not the television, but maybe the panels.
Well, it was a kind of a blonded wood, and it was rather chewed up. It wasn't.
It wasn't smooth.
Wasn't nice.
It was
and it weighed 900 pounds.
The screen was about 12 inches, but the console was the length of the wall.
And what could you do?
To play phonograph records in part of it.
Phonograph right on the end was the phonograph.
That's right.
On the side of it.
The lid lifted up, and you put the horn in there.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Sisters should. We're all together, sisters. I'm Janice.
I'm Maureen.
I'm Holly.
And that's funny.
Give it one more.
Oh, that's Saturday Night Live.
She had the small hands.
She had the tiny
tiny hands. Oh, God.
God, that
funny.
Kristen wig is funny.
That was funny.
Oh, man.
Anyway, are you done,
Thanks, John.
I think so.
I guess so. Lawrence Welk, what a guy.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you, boys.
All right, folks. I would really like to thank you boys because we are going to have a fantastic treat coming up here, and that is Escape with Us Vacations. We are going to, we're going out west. And when we go out west,
You're taking the show out west?
Yeah, Tombstone Monument Ranch and Cattle Company, September 3rd through 7th. If you want to go, I'm going on this trip.
It's a dude ranch.
Yes, but I want you to go along on this trip. I'm not leading the trip. I'm just a person going on the trip. But I want you guys to have
Thank
fun.
God you're not leading the trip.
4-night packages include.
Everyone would die of a rattlesnake. Right.
Yes. Well, then you have something priceless. Round trip airfare on Sun Country, comfortable round trip motor coach, 4 nights accommodations at the Tombstone Monument Ranch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily. And the 4 ranch activities, I told you about the horseback riding, fast or slow, archery, shooting, and the themed hotel rooms. The saloon, the jail, the newspaper. It's really going to be a blast, and I really want you to book your spot right now. 651-788-4338, escapewithusvacations.com. Also, little teaser, details coming soon on the Croatia yacht, September 2026. A lot of people have responded to that. Mark your calendars. Get in touch with Teresa or Maria. escapewithusvacations.com, 651-788-4338.
Let's go.
What, already?
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
It's a small consolation, but the UK is going to disappear before the United States. The UK will lose any power structure before the U.S.
Without a doubt. Yep.
And we're both headed towards the end. But in the UK now, we have a police officer named Lorne Castle, who has been fired because he embarrassed the 15-year-old boy he arrested who had been stabbing people. And the copper, well, I'll just tell you this story. There's a video that shows how PC Lorne Castle grabbed the 15-year-old boy who was suspected of assault.
Sorry, my fault.
Pushed him into a wall before slamming him into the ground and proceeded to place his hand over the youth's face while shouting threats and curse words. So far, I don't see any problem.
Right.
During the commotion, a Stanley-type knife fell out of the teenager's waistband. The copper, 46, was dismissed from the Dorset police over the Bournemouth arrest, sparking a wave of criticism. As it emerged, the teen was suspected of assaulting two people, including an elderly gentleman. Following the arrest, PC Castle's colleagues reported concerns about his conduct to senior officers, prompting a 16-month investigation and gross misconduct proceedings. A misconduct panel last week found Castle made the boy feel frightened and intimidated.
Okay.
And showed him a lack of courtesy and respect during the arrest. The UK
you don't have to be respect.
The UK is going away before we are. The officer apologized for his out-of-character actions, but that didn't save him. Wilshire Police Assistant Chief Constable Deborah Smith found him guilty of gross misconduct. They said he failed to act with self-control, did not treat the boy with courtesy or respect, and that he was shouting, swearing, finger-pointing, taking hold of the boy's face, and
preventing him from stabbing anymore.
He was fired without notice and barred from serving again, and then they have to go through this year. He used the bleep word a few times. Show me your bleeping hands now. Put your bleeping hands behind your back. The teen, who was clearly distressed, said, "I can't." As the officer was on top of him. I don't want to read the rest.
Well, if you see the video, though, Joe, and I'm sure all of us have, when you watch the video, yes, was he somewhat being aggressive? But he had to.
So what?
Because that's what I'm saying. This person was not listening and was a threat to other people.
It's
the fact that he
over for
lost his
them.
job, it's laughable.
It's over for them.
On the day of the arrest, the panel heard that the boy was suspected of assaulting an elderly man while riding an e-scooter before getting embroiled in a fracas with another youth outside of a McDonald's.
And he had a box cutter. That's what a Stanley knife is. It's a box cutter. And John, you mentioned the Dutch government collapsed.
Yeah.
Well, they're in trouble for more than that.
Uh-oh.
Belgians have accused. The Dutch have accused the Belgians of stealing wind.
All right.
A Dutch weather forecaster has accused Belgium of stealing wind from its neighbors' wind turbines in the North Sea.
How exactly do you do that?
Well, in an interview with Belgian broadcaster VRT, Vers Juggeberger said,
Sure.
A wind turbine is designed to extract wind from the air. If you measure behind a wind turbine, the air blows less hard. Behind a wind farm with many wind turbines together, you really see lower speeds. Verzabidgeberger explained that Belgian wind farms have an advantage over Dutch wind farms because they are located southwest of the Dutch parks, and the wind often comes from the southwest. So you're stealing some of our wind. He believes better coordination is needed to ensure no country is disadvantaged. First of all, within a country itself, but we will all have to. I don't want to read this either. These people are nuts. Everybody's nuts. And we're going to sharpen a pencil.
Chris, I bet you've noticed that every road trip you take, there are more and more of these wind. So what are they called?
Farms, basically, aren't they?
Wind farms.
Oh, it's
They're
amazing.
grotesque, I think.
Yeah,
I don't like them.
There's so many now.
You know what I say when I see a wind farm? I disagree.
I disagree.
Do you roll down the window to do that?
Yeah, I say it right to the blade going around. I've told you, there's one on the way. You see it if you go up 169 outside Elk River.
That shorty.
Yeah, that sucker couldn't fire up a toaster. It's never turning. I think the guy planted it wrong.
Maybe it's just a prop. It's a
Gotta turn
placebo.
it.
A placebo windmill.
Turn the damn thing.
Well, wait a minute. They don't rotate, do they?
You got to stick them in a certain way.
Where's the propeller?
The propeller was facing the wrong way.
Hey, before you wrap things up,
I'm not ready to wrap it up, Kenny. I just want to talk to you more. But go ahead.
John, you wanted to get something in. Go ahead.
We might be doing the same thing. I know we were going to talk about this. Chris reminded me about the Egan-Champlin Park game. Champlin Park won that one 5-0
with the guy pitching, with the man pitching.
Yeah, Rothenberger, his name. He allowed 7 hits, struck out 4.
Do you have something to add, Chris? If you do it anonymously,
read Royce's.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Read Pat's text.
She's good. She's not a phenomenon. There are better pitchers here. Egan has 4 or 5 hits, but its running base is like a collection of disco Danny Fords. The idea she's dangerous to other players and someone's going to die is utter horse bleep.
Mm-hmm.
Horse manure.
But I thought you got another email from someone presumably in the know who said...
it's long, though.
Well, then don't read it.
But it's a very
What's
good email.
What's the gist of it?
That he agrees with both sides of our argument from yesterday. That, yes, someone... Well, no, just that, yes, we're all in agreement. Someone should stand up to this person, but you can't put a 17-year-old girl who's got her entire life in front of her and suggest that you're the one, because then you're just going to become the target. And there was another email that had a great idea that instead of a boycott in the game, the other team's players should all wear like a wristband, like a black wristband.
Okay, but I thought you referenced one where someone had some biological information.
That was me. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was John.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That was me. Yeah. They said he didn't want to be identified. He said there's some biological information and it'll come out at some point. But I don't know what his point was. If it was meant to be pro. Anti.
So the kid wins today. He beats Egan 5-0.
21 consecutive scoreless innings pitched by young Marissa for Champlin Park.
Okay, and now does Champlin Park play again today?
Well, because they were supposed to play, yes. So I don't know what the new schedule is, unless Rookie does. Because Rookie's
I know
niece
Egan's
is
playing again. So I'm
consolation
sure Champlin Park
or third place or whatever.
It's double elimination.
No, do you have to lose twice?
Yeah.
Oh boy. So
I did not
Egan's
know
still
that.
alive.
Yep.
But ultimately, you might have to come back and face this guy.
Correct. I think Egan's playing the Farmington Tigers.
Yeah, and Champlin Park plays White Bear Lake this afternoon.
And apparently Marissa would pitch that game, presumably?
That you would assume.
2 games in one day?
Yeah.
You just did it last week.
Up to 14 innings, I think they can go, is what I read.
So Maria tells me that White Bear Lake beat Champlin Park.
They've lost twice this year. I don't know who they lost to.
That's my guess.
Only because they come
Hold on.
to it.
It's a summer of a celebration of the cylinder. That's not how I wanted that to come out. We are celebrating the cylinder this summer. That's what I wanted to say. With 2 events that we're going to go to, Joe. One of them coming up this month, June 20th, right? Isn't that the date?
Back to the 50s, baby.
Back to the 50s. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're actually going to do a show there. The other one is coming July 12th, where we're not going to do a show. It's on a Saturday, but we're going to hang out with GLers and council members at Cedar Lake Speedway. So those are a couple of dates that we'd like you to save and show up and hang out with us.
And we agreed to go back to the 50s because that is the starting point for the Hemmings Great Race.
By agreed, we pretty much made the
Well,
station.
we actually asked to go.
We forced them. Yeah.
The great race is pre-1964 cars, I believe, and they leave the fairgrounds Saturday the 21st, and at the end of 7 or 8 days, they end up in North Carolina.
Yeah.
7 days.
Well, we're
first leg-
talking some cars that'll, the game is, can you make it?
I could
Yeah.
get there tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they're not driving, new cars.
It's
They're
like a
driving-
giant Top Gear challenge. It's
That's
a
so
lot of
cool.
fun.
It is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And that I saw their path, or not their exact path, but some of that drive is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I'm getting nowhere, by the way, Kenny. I'm getting nowhere. They are tight-lipped on their route.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I wanted to know, is there some small town I
Yeah.
could go to and set up a lawn chair and just watch them drive?
Otherwise, there'd be hand chewers like you.
by? Yeah, they can't. They're very reluctant to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So I'm going to be back at the fairgrounds on Saturday morning, the 21st, to watch them leave. And I'll have to
Can I
settle
follow
for that.
you?
Yeah.
You could do that. Just follow them.
No, I didn't intend to be bothersome. I just wanted to sit in a
Well,
shade tree
I got
somewhere.
news for you.
Right. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Their first stop is Rochester. Why? So day one is nothing for them.
But they're not taking they're not taking direct roads. I would
That's
imagine.
the.
Yeah.
Now you're catching on.
There we go.
I'll bet you. I'll say it on the air because I don't know. I'm just speculating. I bet you they take that County Road 7 between 61 and 19 through through that Afton Alps. No, what's it
Joe,
called?
Joe,
What's that village there?
Maybe stop talking. Maybe
the ski village?
maybe no more
Welch.
talking.
Welch.
Afton.
No, Welch.
Welch Village down south?
Yeah, I think
Maybe you
that.
should sit the next few plays.
Well, I'm
out
just
there.
saying, you know what? I get to talk. They didn't tell me a damn thing.
If
But
they're
if I was
smart-
planning the route, that's where they'd go.
It's my show.
Kenny, you know what they're going to end up doing? Okay, Joe, here's where we're going to be. Wink, wink. And
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna
Just
send
wait
over
for
there.
us there. We'll be there at
I'd be like
7.
this.
Yeah. Why don't you go over to Prior Lake and wait for us, pal?
Only because they come to us all the way from the traveling linemen who are currently in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, returning to Africa one of these days. It was on this day in Minnesota history. This day.
June 4th.
In 1869, John S. and Charles A. Pillsbury bought a third interest in the Frazee and Murphy flour mill. The Pillsbury Company marks this date as its birthday. On this day,
June 4.
I can't believe this made the cut. On this day in 1993, Jim Ed Poole and Dale Conley celebrated their 10th year as hosts of the morning show on Minnesota Public Radio. BFD.
You've always been jealous of them, haven't you?
I don't even know who they are.
Oh, they're a pretty big deal among the.
Well, why'd they only last 10 years? They were that big of a deal.
Because they made
That's your.
they made so much money that they were allowed to retire.
What didn't it have something to do with their new music station?
I don't know. I have no idea. On this day,
Joe, today is June 4th.
in the year 2000, remember that we were all supposed to die because of Y2K? Yeah, never happened, did it?
Nope.
On this day,
June 6th or June 4th.
in 2000, a statue was unveiled in Perriers, Normandy, France, of 4 American soldiers who died trying to free the town from the Germans during World War II. Citizens of the town and veterans of the 90th Division raised funds for the monument. 2 Minnesotans were commemorated in the statue. Virgil Tangborn of Bemidji. Is that a name? Virgil Tangborn. And Richard Rickman of Minneapolis. It is unusual for statues dedicated to the memory of common soldiers to be of specific individuals. But they gave their lives trying to save the town. Virgil Tangborn of Bemidji and Richard Rickman of Minneapolis.
I did some research on the morning show, Joe.
Yeah.
It started also with Garrison Keeler.
Right.
So it was those two fellas. Then Keeler left. And that 10-year celebration was just a 10-year celebration. Both of them were on In fact, one retired in 2008.
Jim Ed Poole was a guy named Tom Keith.
Yes, Keith announced his intention to retire in October 2008. So he quit then. He was on until 2008. And the other fella quit in 1983.
Dale Kahn.
No, that was Keeler. I'm sorry. Keeler quit in 83 because of a Prairie Home Companion.
Right.
So there you go.
Prairie Home Companion goes back to 83?
No, it goes back to at least 1974.
Huh.
I believe, 1974. And on this day in sports disappointment history,
June 4th.
On this day in 1982, the Twins beat Orioles, ending a losing streak.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing, yeah.
All
On
right.
this day,
Yeah, yesterday would have been the last day of the long losing streak.
on this day,
June 4th.
2021, all it says is Shoemaker, 1/3 inning in first, 9 runs. I have no idea what the hell that's referring to.
Shoemaker.
I'm unaware of a pitcher named Shoemaker. I don't know what game is. This is not the lineman's fault. He's sending me what he finds in Minnesota sports
Spell
disappointment.
Shoemaker.
Just like Willie.
Okay.
Just like a guy who makes shoes.
9 runs.
1/3 inning in the first. He pitched a third.
Oh, yeah. He
Matt-
pitched for the Twins.
yeah.
Matt Shoemaker.
Matt
Now I remember
Shoemaker.
who he was. He allowed 9 runs in the first inning, including 8 earned against the Kansas City Royals. This was a historically bad start for the Twins. Shoemaker did not make it out of the first inning.
Wait, that would have been right here at Target Field.
I don't know.
No, I mean that's when they were.
No, it was at Kauffman Stadium,
Okay, but it was recent. It was
2021.
they were in the. I kept thinking this might have been in the Dome. No, this was 2021, June 4th on this day.
Not only did he only recorded 1 out.
1/3 of an inning in the first, and he gave up 9 runs.
That's pretty
Did
bad.
the Twins rally for a victory that
They
day?
did not. They lost 14-5.
They won by a big number again last night.
I told Johnny, you know what? I kind of like the A's ballpark. It's kind of neat.
Anyway.
Kenny, how much do you think Matt Shoemaker made when he was playing?
Probably 73,000.
I just said that to make you angry, Kenny. You don't need to answer.
Thank you, Gio.
Yeah, the light goes on, the monkey hits the
Well,
button.
I wonder how much he did make now that you mentioned it.
Jesus, John. I am going to punch
I'm
you
sorry,
in the
Thanks,
throat.
G. Ellers.
I'm sorry.
Barbecue your ass.
I apologize, Kenny.
If you're offended. If you're offended, hit the Garage Logic YouTube channel, and then you can interact with the show each and every day. Yeah, that's right. Not only do we have a YouTube channel, but you can watch the show live right around noon every single day on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. So you can join the 15,000 subscribers. And let's keep adding that list. Let's pump up those numbers on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You can also follow us along on all of our social media channels. Just search Garage Logic on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't done so yet, sign up for that daily Logician email. It comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up right now at garagelogic.com. Perfect health.